Okay, real talk. How does one soft-spoken Canadian woman manage to make the whole world ugly cry, save 1 million puppies, and flip the music industry on its bro-filled head? That's right, we're talking about Sarah McLachlan, the angel-voiced powerhouse who can shatter your soul in 3 piano notes or less. You know her as the Arms of the Angel lady from those sad animal commercials, but trust me, there is so much more to this queen of feelings than just rescue dogs and ballads. This is the real story of Sarah McLachlan. Born Sarah Ann McLachlan on January 28, 1968 in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I was born and raised in Nova Scotia, in Halifax.
She was lovingly raised by her adoptive parents, Jack, a marine biologist from the U.S., and Doris McLachlan. She grew up in a close-knit household alongside 2 older adoptive brothers, Stuart and Ian. A former girl guide with a rebellious streak, Sarah fronted a high school new wave band called October Game. Her stunning voice quickly made her the star, and at just 17, she was offered a record deal from Network Records after her band opened for another band.
There was 400 people there. We opened up for Mauve, which was a network band.
But her strict parents slammed the brakes, insisting she finish high school and attend art college first.
Dreamed about. I had very staunch academic parents who believed in university as the only way.
Probably saving her from an early burnout. 2 years later, Sarah signed with Network Records, solo, because the label didn't want her band, just her. With barely any solo material, she locked in and created her debut album, Touch, in 1988, featuring the haunting track Vox. It sold over 625,000 copies, proving that talent, patience, and a little parental tough love can launch a lasting career. Before Sarah McLachlan had us all sobbing to Angel in the dead of night, she was quietly breaking records and breaking hearts with her 1993 breakout album, Fumbling Towards Ecstasy. That record exploded, topping Canadian charts and selling over 3 million copies worldwide. But the real shocker? One of its most haunting tracks, Possession, was inspired by a real-life stalker. Yep, Sarah took a terrifying experience and turned it into a hauntingly beautiful hit. Talk about turning trauma into chart toppers. Then came 1997's Surfacing, aka the album that turned her into a full-blown international superstar. We're talking over 7 million copies sold, 2 Grammy wins, and timeless hits like Building a Mystery, Adia, Sweet Surrender, and of course, Angel. But here's the gag. Sarah hated the idea of writing commercial radio hits. She thought Angel was too slow and depressing and only ever wrote poppy stuff like Into the Fire when the label begged her, and even then, she thought it was fake. Ironically, it's the raw, dark, moody stuff she actually felt that made her a global icon. Turns out, crying in your living room at 2 a.m. is big business. Who knew? In 1997, Sarah McLachlan wasn't just blessing us with moody bangers. She was flipping the entire music industry on its head with Lilith Fair.
I had so many people, like the old school guys within the industry, saying, well, you can't put more than 2 women on the same bill. People won't come.
A bold, all-female summer music festival that screamed girl power before it was trendy.
For a summer, and I thought I had had other female artists come out and play with me before.
What started in 1996 as a small experiment with just Sarah and Paula Cole turned into a mega tour featuring heavy hitters like Sheryl Crow, Jewel, Sinead O'Connor, Indigo Girls, Erykah Badu, and even a babyface Christina Aguilera before the Chaps and Glitter. Over 3 summers, Lilith Fair drew 2 million fans and raised over $7 million for charity. And yup, Sarah landed on the covers of Time and Rolling Stone, basically becoming the face of cool feminism in the 90s. But not everyone was cheering. Critics came out swinging, accusing Lilith Fair of being too feminist or not feminist enough. Sarah even got hit with dumb questions like, "Why do you hate men?" as if promoting women meant banning dudes from Earth. She admitted the backlash left her totally blindsided and emotionally drained. Turns out, being a trailblazer is exhausting. In 2010, she tried to bring Lilith Fair back, but the magic didn't stick. The world had changed, and so had the women in it. Sarah owned up to the flop, saying she misread the room and didn't adapt to what women wanted now.
People were 10, 12 years older, for one thing. A lot of the young women who came to Lilith back then now have kids at home.
The revival's failure showed that while the original Lilith Fair was revolutionary in the 90s, its girl power vibes didn't quite hit the same with the new generation.
We did enough due diligence in discovering how our audience had changed and how to reflect that in a new show. We kind of threw up the same model.
Still, credit where it's due. Sarah McLachlan didn't just sing about feelings, she made space for all women to be heard. Now that's a mic drop. Sarah McLachlan's personal life has been full of emotional highs and heartbreaking lows, fuel for her signature soulful ballads. She married her drummer, Ashwin Sood, in 1997, but the relationship started with drama. He was her best friend's ex, inspiring the song Adia as an apology.
The story of the song is that tricky time in between when I was sort of...
They had 2 daughters, India and Taja, but divorced in 2008.
It wasn't a fling. I did marry the guy and have kids with him, subsequently divorced him.
A painful split reflected in her album Laws of Illusion. Motherhood slowed down her career, but she's been open and real about it. Her emotional resilience is rooted in early trauma. She was stalked by a man who found her name and photo in the newspaper. That scary experience taught her early that fame comes with a price, shaping her famously private persona. In short, Sarah doesn't just sing heartbreak, she's lived every note. Even in the early days of her solo career, Sarah McLachlan wasn't just dealing with heartbreak ballads, she was knee-deep in lawsuits and legal drama. In 1998, she got dragged into court by Daryl Newdorf, a former drummer for 5440, who claimed he co-wrote 4 tracks on her debut album Touch, including Vox. He said he didn't get proper credit or cash despite receiving $30K and a credit for inspiration. But Sarah wasn't having it. She clapped back hard, denying everything, and even sang in court to prove she wrote the songs herself. The judge sided with her, setting a copyright law precedent and proving she wasn't just Canada's sad song queen, she was a fierce protector of her creative turf. Sarah McLachlan's 1994 legal drama takes the cake. She was slapped with a lawsuit by Uwe Vandre, an obsessed fan from Ottawa, who claimed his bizarre letters to her were the inspiration for her haunting hit Possession. Yup, you read that right. This guy actually admitted to stalking her and used a lawsuit just to get close to her. The whole ordeal was a total nightmare, not just for Sarah, but for the Canadian legal system too, which had to figure out how to handle a case where the plaintiff was a self-proclaimed stalker. Security precautions were even put in place in case Sarah had to be in the same room as him. But in a dark and unexpected twist, Vandre died by self-unaliving before the trial ever got underway. But wait, this wasn't her first brush with creeps. When she was just 11 years old, a random grown man saw her name and photo in the paper and started calling her house saying gross, dirty things.
And had all our names put in the paper. And I had a guy look me up, find me and phone me and, say dirty things to me.
That moment planted the seed for something heavy, the realization that fame can make you feel like public property. So when the next stalker situation hit later in her career, she already knew how to set boundaries like a pro. And just when you think that's enough legal mess, I Will Remember You. Yes, the Grammy-winning tearjerker was used without her permission in a Columbine massacre video sold by a firefighter. Furious, Sarah and her label had it pulled immediately. Bottom line, McLachlan's emotional music may seem soft, but behind the scenes, she's been in a non-stop battle to protect her art, her boundaries, and her sanity. Fame may look glamorous, but Sarah's story proves it can come with a serious legal price tag. Let's be real. When you hear Angel and see a sad-eyed puppy on screen, you know what's coming. Yup, we're talking about Sarah McLachlan's legendary SPCA ads that left millions sobbing into their cereal bowls. But those gut-punch commercials weren't just viral heartbreak. They raised a jaw-dropping $30 million in just 2 years. Thanks to Sarah's signature sad and soulful vibes, the ASPCA's revenue shot from $85 million to nearly $280 million by 2019. That's not a commercial flop, folks. That's a fundraising empire built on pure emotional power. Back in 1993, she dropped Hold On for the AIDS benefit album No Alternative. And by 1997, she was already taking a stand for justice at the Leonard Peltier Defense Fund benefit, later releasing a cover of Unchained Melody to back the cause. Yup, Sarah's voice hits you in the feels and in the fight for human rights. Fast forward to 2005. After the devastating South Asian tsunami, Sarah helped headline One World, the concert for tsunami relief in Vancouver, with other Canadian A-listers like Avril Lavigne and Bryan Adams, raising a cool $3.6 million. Oh, and she brought her own outreach choir of talented kids to the stage, because of course she did. That same year, she joined Josh Groban at Live Aid Philadelphia, performing Angel to pressure world leaders to cancel African debt. Talk about turning ballads into activism. And she didn't stop there. In 2008, she donated a track to Aid Still Required, continuing her tsunami relief efforts. And by 2012, she was sharing the Carnegie Hall stage with Kate Winslet's Golden Hat Foundation for a star-studded holiday concert. In 2023, she adopted an adorable rescue pup named Tallulah to join her chocolate lab Poppy she adopted in 2015. Clearly, the woman doesn't just sing about compassion, she lives it. But wait, there's more. McLachlan also spoofed her own tearjerker legacy in a hilarious 2023 Super Bowl ad for Busch Light. Yep, even the queen of sad dog commercials has a wicked sense of humor. And just when you thought she couldn't get more wholesome, Sarah also founded the Sarah McLachlan School of Music in Vancouver, giving free music lessons to at-risk youth. She calls music her salvation, and now she's paying it forward, big time.
Don't know what I would have done without music in my life. I really don't. It was the one thing I knew I was so good at.
Oh, and did we mention she's also a proud member of Artists Against Racism? So whether she's rescuing puppies or nurturing young talent, Sarah proves that those haunting ballads of hers, they're changing lives, and not just on the radio. Don't count Sarah McLachlan out. This Canadian songbird is still going strong. After a brief hiccup with vocal health, she's back and better than ever.
I was challenged with my voice the entire time. I blew up my voice the first 3 days of rehearsals.
Hitting the road in 2025 for her Fumbling Towards Ecstasy 30th anniversary tour. Originally planned for 2024, the tour was rescheduled, but Sarah's promised fans she's now fully recovered and recharged. And yes, she's performing the entire Fumbling Towards Ecstasy album live. Talk about giving the people what they want.
And people, amazingly enough, still want to hear my music and are still excited by it.
And here's the juicy bit. She's teasing maybe a few new songs too. New Sarah tracks? Yes, please. Even if she admits to feeling significantly older and a little more slowed down, this queen isn't letting time dim her shine. Her dedication proves she's still got the fire and the voice that made her a legend. Now, let's talk cash. Sarah is now 57 and sitting on a $50 million net worth. Not bad for someone who once thought her songs were too depressing for radio. So let's get one thing straight. Sarah McLachlan is way more than just the angelic voice behind sad puppies and emotional ballads. She's a full-on force, a fearless, complicated, soul-bearing artist who's turned heartbreak, scandal, and raw vulnerability into pure magic. She may be private, but her music has said it all. Loud, proud, and with just the right amount of tear-jerking drama. And that, folks, is what makes her an icon. She didn't just leave her mark, she tattooed it on pop culture with every haunting note.